Am I smiling? Oh. Make me look good, Mike. Make me look good. My name's Taylor Forward, and I grew up in Tasmania on the northwest coast in a little town called Ulverston. Growing up on the northwest coast, I had a pretty cruisy life, to be honest. My parents were absolutely amazing. I grew up with great morals. I grew up with love and support, and I was just like all the kids that I knew, at least, into bikes and skateboards and rollerblades when they were cool. And I grew up going motorbike riding and camping with my family. You know, I feel like from the outset, looking in, I had, you know, a pretty cool, stereotypical, good family life. So, I mean, when I look back in hindsight from some of the struggles that I had later on in life, I think a lot of them stemmed from that sort of late primary school into high school age bracket, where self-esteem was like a real issue of mine, especially around like intellect. I always thought I was pretty dumb. I'd sort of mask that or cover up that feeling of not being good enough by being a bit of a class clown, a bit of a larrikin. And when I was 15, I wanted to really fit in, you know, like the peak of high school where you want to be cool. And one way that I seen in my high school to be cool was to go to a party and get drunk. Like, so silly, but I'd seen it happen. You know, I'd seen people go from zero to hero. And so I thought that was my ticket to success. One time I was at a friend's house, we went motorbike riding, and on the way back, the guy that were at his house said, "Hey, why don't we get Dad to stop at the bottle shop?" And I'm thinking, great, this is it. Like, I've never drunk alcohol before. This would be a really, really great way to, you know, start to make that claim to fame. And so we go to the bottle shop on the way home. Our friend's dad goes in, buys us a carton. We go home, we unload the motorbikes, we have some dinner, and we go out to his property. He had a couple of acres, and we light this fire, and we sit around this fire, and we start drinking. And it was really fun, you know, starting to feel the effects of alcohol, because I'd never drunk before, and it was cool and exciting. We're ringing people and we're carrying on. And as the night went on, the drinking went on, and I remember just, you know, basically having one after the other, until I reached in and took the last one. I remember taking the last one, our esky that had heaps of ice and all these cans in it was empty. And I had the last one in my hand. And that's the last memory that I have. I remember waking up and I woke up to my friend yelling my name just over and over, "Taylor, Taylor." And then he dropped a bomb and he said to me, "Taylor, you've fallen into the fire." You know, when I really think back to being that 15-year-old laying in that hospital bed, it's pretty dark, and I don't say that like I was depressed and suicidal or anything like that, but it was just freaking scary. I didn't want my friends to come visit me. I couldn't bear the sight of myself. I made the nurses tape up the mirror in my room because I just hated what I looked like. I mean, I looked like a monster, and I felt like a monster. Like, I felt like I was almost not human. And that was way worse than any of the pain. I remember laying there just thinking, you idiot, you've like ruined your life. I really remember thinking that I'm never gonna get a job. I remember thinking I'm never gonna get a girlfriend. I'm never going to get married, I'm never going to have kids, I'm never going to have any friends. Like, I remember just thinking that this one incident had ruined all the things in life that I was looking forward to. I just remember being so, again, just scared of people, scared of what they'd think, scared of what they'd say. And it didn't take me long to realise that people didn't really say anything to me face to face. It was what they said behind my back, and that stuff was what, really hurt. It was so hard that, there was times when I literally got into fights, and I wasn't a violent kid. I was just hurt and broken and offended, and upset. After falling in the fire, I kind of gave up on any sort of purpose or direction. I knew I just didn't want to be in school. I knew I wanted to get out as soon as I could, and I wanted to do some sort of a trade. But I honestly didn't even think I'd be able to get an apprenticeship. I applied for some jobs and had no luck. And then my parents encouraged me to do like a pre-vault course at TAFE. So it's like an introduction to building. And I did that. And it was like one of the first times in my life where I realised if I applied myself, I know, which sounds so dumb, but I realised if I applied myself to something that I could actually do okay. So I finished my TAFE course, and luckily they put me forward for this job as a builder. And so I remember going to the interview, I've only just got my P's, sitting in the foyer, crapping myself, going upstairs into this office and sitting in front of these two guys trying to almost bluff my way through this interview. And turns out they liked me, and they gave me a job, and that job quite literally changed my life.
Taylor sometimes jokingly says if I had have interviewed him, I wouldn't have employed him, but I got our workshop manager and our builder that we employed to interview him, and they put him through the ringers, and basically said, this guy's going to be okay. So I said, right, employ him. But we needed an apprentice builder for some projects that we had, and he started with us, and I enjoyed seeing him work and learning new skills in the building trade.
But our builder didn't want to do it, did it? Our builder was like, I don't want to take a risk. And we're like, that's what we want to do. We'll take on the apprentice, and we'll take the risk because that's what we believe in.
I mean, the fact that they gave me a job, gave me a shot, gave me a chance was just huge. My confidence started to come back as I started to even just learn new skills. Learning new skills as a builder, getting praise, doing things right. I started to feel like, I can do something, I can contribute. I think I would have had moments where I would have been challenging to work with. It wasn't so much the physical aspect of learning things, it was like learning how to be confident and learning how to interact with people again, and learning how to look someone in the eye, because I didn't want people to look at me.
We often say at work, we have some success stories. We have lots of success stories, and we have some failures as well. But just because we've got some failures doesn't mean we're not going to give other young people a chance. And so it's part of who we are, and what we do is we really feel that it's our, I suppose, civic duty to give young people a go.
I don't remember when along the journey it was when I just thought, I can be Taylor with the scar. It's actually okay to be that person. It's okay to own what had happened. It was okay to accept it and move forward from that. And so, there was definitely a real distinct moment where I was like, yep, this has been shit, but it's okay. It doesn't have to end here.
It gives me a lot of satisfaction to give a young person a chance in life, and obviously it's up to them to steward that opportunity, but when you see them steward it well and thrive and do well, that gives me a lot of satisfaction. And over the years you look back and you sort of think, well, we've had some input in that person's life, and where they are today is because of the opportunity that we've given them.
The grace and the humility and the patience and the opportunities that they gave me were amazing, and I think they all, them factors play a huge part into what I do now, because I see the impact and the influence that had on me, and so I want to impart that to younger people. One thing that I've really learned is that the problem's not often the problem. For me, falling in the fire wasn't the problem. It was this longing to feel like I could fit in and that I was something special. That's what young people need. They need consistency and they need support and love. And unfortunately, they don't often get that. But it's not impossible.